Welcome to Life L'Chaim. On today's show, Rod Kukerudz from Arts for a Better World joins us to talk about Jewish and Israeli artists. And first, we're in Rabbi Avi's Kosher kitchen to make Tilapia Bananas Foster. Hey, it really is good. We'll be right back with these stories.
We're back in Avi's Kosher Kitchen, and in the spirit of full disclosure, we need to let our audience know that you've prepared this dish for me, which is Tilapia Bananas Foster. You've prepared it for me before, and
Yes,
I can't wait for it to be prepared again. It's a fantastic meal. So tell us about it. Tilapia Bananas Foster.
Okay, well, tilapia is bananas foster. First off, tilapia is a very...
You say tilapia, I say tilapia.
Right, you say tomato, I say tomato.
Right.
Let's call this whole thing off.
Right.
At any rate, it's a very common fish. Okay, particularly in the kosher world. For a fish to be kosher, it needs to have fins and scales on it, okay? And a lot of people will go to their kosher market to buy fish, and what do they see? They see salmon and tilapia, salmon and tilapia, salmon and tilapia. So typically tilapia, people fry it, they bread it, they bake it, they'll make a Moroccan fish out of it, but I wanted to do something different because my kids get tired of the same thing over and over again. And, tilapia is a great fish for it because it's a pretty neutral fish. Mm-hmm. It's not a fishy, oily type of taste to it. It's takes on the flavor of whatever you're doing with it. Okay?
Right, and it's very affordable.
Very affordable. They're farm raised. They're also, the fillets themselves are very easy to handle. It's not a big fillet. And when you get them, they're basically boneless. You're not worrying about the little bones inside of them or anything else like that. So it's a really, really, really nice fish to work with in a lot of ways. They usually come in frozen, so you keep it in your freezer for a while, take it out, they defrost relatively quick, and they're good to go.
Let's get to it.
So let's go to it. First, we're going to heat up our pan, okay? So we don't do that, we got a problem.
Right.
I'm going to take a little coconut oil. Okay. Now, coconut oil is either going to be solid or sometimes at a higher room temperature, 80 some odd degrees, it'll be a liquid. Mm-hmm. Okay. Coconut oil, I love cooking with this on certain dishes, and this is one of them, because the coconut flavor from the oil infuses itself right with the fish.
Right.
Okay. Now, if you're at home and you can't get coconut oil, you don't have it, something like that, very easy. You could use margarine. You could use olive oil, although I'd stay more with the margarine. It's a lighter flavor. Okay.
And are all oils kosher?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Processed oils, okay, need to have some sort of a kosher certification, okay? So this is actually extra virgin coconut oil, which is a non-processed oil. So as long as it's extra virgin non-processed, you're good to go. But once it's processed, you need the certification, okay? That's why extra virgin olive oil is fine without a certification, but regular olive oil that's not extra virgin, you need a certification.
Mm-hmm. And what makes an oil virgin or extra virgin?
I think it's the age of the. I'm joking. It's the first squeezing is of the olive is the extra virgin. Okay?
Gotcha.
It's the full flavor, the full everything. Okay, that sort of thing. We're going to let our pan heat up, and I want to have this on kind of a medium, almost a medium-high heat, because I want the fish to develop a crust when I do it. Okay, we're going to take the fillets. Very simple. On one side, I've got here some salt. Okay, so we'll just put a little salt on top of it. A little garlic powder. And you may ask, why aren't we using fresh garlic?
Why aren't we using fresh garlic?
I'm glad you asked that. You could use fresh garlic in the plate, but the adhesion of the, it's just popping a little bit. I'll lower the adhesion of the garlic powder onto the fish is a little bit better, a little bit nicer.
Right.
And then I've got some cumin.
Do we need safety goggles?
I don't. You're
no,
saying
that's
why I put that there. And you're going to do both sides, the same thing. A little bit of salt on it, and you do this to taste. There is no magic. Oh, that's too much garlic. It's too much. If you like it with that much garlic, that much salt, then that's a good thing.
Or what are some other ingredients that you can put on it?
You could use, instead of the cumin, you could use curry. Okay, if you want to put a little paprika, hot paprika, spicy paprika, you could do that as well. Okay, now what I really like to do is lay out my fillets here and just take
B24.
Here's my garlic. Lovely thing about garlic, by the way, is that if there's anything in a dish that has a kind of a fishy or this or that.
Right.
Garlic has a way of absorbing that and taking it out, okay?
All right, both
And
sides.
just both sides again. A little salt. A little garlic. Maybe a lot of garlic. And some cumin. Very simple.
Beautiful.
Okay. And now we're going to go stand back because we're going to take this.
Drop that in there.
Drop these babies in. There we go. And a tilapia fillet, by the way, it splits in the middle.
Right.
Here. So if you want smaller portions, just cut it in the middle, and you've got a smaller fillet that way. Okay. This will cook a little bit on one side, and cook on the other to get nice and crispy, and then we're going to make our banana sponsor sauce.
Right. So there's no batter necessary. Man, people might think
No.
to get it crusty, it's not this. What you've
No.
done is already going to get
Yeah,
it.
very
crusty.
very nice. You don't need the batter. You don't need any eggs or
Right.
anything like that, and you're good to go. One quick kosher note, by the way. Some people will use butter in the fish. There's some people, from a kosher perspective, that won't eat fish with dairy. Okay?
Right.
Sephardic Jews, which I think we both are Sephardic Jews, you and I.
I'm not.
Oh, you're not. I am.
Right. I'm
Okay.
Ashkenazi.
Well, we'll make you an honorary one.
Right.
too.
I'll take it. That's fine.
So we don't mix dairy and fish together. Interestingly enough, so butter, try not to do.
Right.
So that's why you guys have lox and bagels, lox and cream cheese, and we don't.
I say Shabbat. You say Shabbos.
No. I say Shabbat.
right,
You say
right.
Shabbos. Let's call the whole thing off.
Right.
And we're just going to let that go, and it should be good.
Okay. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we're going to make the bananas Foster, which
Absolutely.
is so special. We'll be right back. We're back in Avi's Kosher Kitchen, where we're cooking tilapia bananas Foster.
Yep.
Before the break, we worked on the tilapia.
Here it is. Very nice.
Looks beautiful, smells beautiful, and now we're tackling the bananas Foster.
Exactly. So we're going to take our pan, and we're going to heat it up to low, medium heat, and we're going to take some margarine and put it in here. I'm using a margarine. If you're so inclined and want to use butter, that's fine too. I happen to just
Like margarine.
like margarine.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing also with the margarine is that it's going to keep all of this, the bananas Foster part, parve. Okay, which means it's not meat and it's not dairy. And the good part of that is, well, something I'll reveal at the end of this.
Okay.
Okay.
Very
so
good.
while that's heating up and melting, I've got some bananas here. We're just going to take the bananas. and
I
just-
noticed you're cutting the bananas. They've been frozen. What is it? You've had the bananas in the freezer for how long?
These probably been in the bananas, been in the freezer a couple of weeks.
Right.
What happens is I've got kids. My
Right.
wife likes to buy bananas. And God bless her, she buys a lot of bananas. And God bless my kids, they go, I'll eat that tomorrow.
Right.
And then they don't eat it.
They don't
So
eat
we
it.
end up with bananas
That are
that are brown and look like this. So I put them in the freezer, okay? Take them out of the freezer now, okay? And you can see we just take them, cut them in half while they're frozen. The skin comes off really nice.
Right. Let me take one. I'm
Chop
gonna reach
'em up.
over.
Yep, watch your hand.
Grab that, help
And
you
we're just going
out.
to put our bananas right in here now, with the butter going. Okay, and let's work fast with this to get them all done. It's a great way when you've got food left over to make the best use out of it. You know,
Right.
Because there's nothing worse than
I know my wife will also take frozen bananas and put some peanut butter on it as a little snack treat at the end of an evening.
yes, she's channeling Elvis, I think.
Right.
I've heard of that syndrome.
Right.
But the other nice thing about this is that it's very, very refreshing, and it's very unexpected on the tilapia. So if you're making this for a dinner party, you're making this for a Shabbat meal or something like that, you're going to have something here that really, really, really makes people go, wow.
Because I know people in our audience right now are going, you're putting bananas Foster on fish?
Yeah, we are.
We are?
We will. Got a little.
And it's so good. This is so good.
So now that while the banana's cooked down, I'm going to take a couple of other things here. I'm going to take a little cinnamon, okay? Just dapple a little cinnamon. A little bit of nutmeg. Be careful in the nutmeg because it's could be a little bit of a strong thing. And now this is cardamom, another nice Mediterranean spice.
Right.
You know, in Turkey, which is where my family's from, when they make Turkish coffee, true Turkish coffee, when they brew it, at the end of the brewing, they take a little cardamom and put it right on top. Wonderful, wonderful flavor, great taste, really kicks it up and brings it up alive. I'm just going to put a little bit in here. Okay, it's got a little bit of a kick to it, but not too bad, okay? You can take those spices, get them all mixed in here, okay? And you can start to smell it now, right?
Right.
Now we're going to take, while that's cooking down, a little vanilla, okay? So I like just a little liquid vanilla. And now this has a little bit of an alcohol kick to it sometimes, not too much. And again, this is all to taste,
Right,
you know?
sure.
So you say, how much do I put in? As much as you like, you know? One of the things I really love about cooking is that recipes are a suggestion. They're not, you know, unless you're baking where you're really dealing with formulas of things, okay? And you're dealing with some kind of chemicals, but when you're cooking things, it's flavors coming together to complement each other, and it's totally subjective. So you're the best judge of that.
Right.
So if you say, gosh, you know what, I want a little more cinnamon in here, put it in. You want a little less of this, don't put so much in, okay? And at the end, which is coming up, this is cooking really, really nicely.
This
Okay.
new pan that you bought works
Yes,
it's wonderful.
It's actually kind of cool. It doesn't stick, and you can mash the bananas up a little bit here. We want to cook a little bit of that liquid out because the bananas are going to have some liquid. So we don't want it to be too liquidy. Okay. One of the things that we're going to do here is add a little amaretto.
Beautiful.
Now, if you don't like amaretto, you don't have to add it. If you want to add something else, some people add vodka. You can do that. Some people will add Kahlua. You get the kosher Kahlua, though. It's very tough to find. Some people add Sabra, which is a chocolate liqueur or an orange liqueur, you know, something like that.
Marnier.
Grand Marnier.
Right.
If you find the kosher one.
Right. If you find the kosher
Kosher one,
Right.
yeah, but that sort of thing, or a brandy, something like that. So we're just going to add.
And they all exist in a kosher
like
form.
that. Yeah, I'm not sure about the Grand Marnier.
Okay.
Now, you may ask why I've got so much, and I put so little in, because I've got a couple glasses here, and I figured this is called L'chaim, this show.
Right.
And we should say L'chaim.
To life.
To life, L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shakol miyah b'dvaro.
Amen. Beautiful.
Nice. So now this is pretty much done. You could let this cook down a little bit more if you want, or you could keep it just as is. So let's come over here and plate up our fish, okay? I'm going to take this nice plate we have here. We had our bananas on. We'll take a nice.
This is a very easy meal.
Very
it cooks
easy.
very quickly.
And take this
And
nice
it's
fillet.
a real
right
special
here.
treat for your family.
And we're just going to take a little bit of this. And
Right.
you could serve, by
Alright,
the way,
this
when
is
you
it.
serve this, you could serve the fish and people will go, ah, very nice. Take the bananas, put it in a separate bowl, and just scoop it right on top, and they're going to go, what's that? Surprise them. Or just take a little bit here and just serve it right on top. You don't need a lot because it'll spread out and go a long way. Okay, and there we go with the fish. And
Where'd you find your passion for cooking?
that's a great question. You know what? I actually found my passion for cooking when I was a kid because my mother couldn't cook, and I like to eat. So
Your mother couldn't cook.
she could boil water. And she
Right.
could heat up a TV dinner. And God bless her, I love her, and I tell her this all the time, and she knows it. But I said, if I really want something that's a little bit different, I've got to learn to do it myself.
Right.
So I basically started cooking when I was in college. I worked as a chef. Actually, when I was in high school, I worked as a butcher in a kosher market, coincidentally, and learned that aspect of things. And we cooked stuff,
Right.
all your deli meats and stuff like that.
So when we do a
Just-
meat dish, we'll have a lot of great questions regarding how to prepare meat for
Good.
this.
It's shakol. So you said Baruch atah
Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam shakol miyah bidbaro.
I love this dish. I love this dish. It is something that you just don't think of
Yeah.
that is just such a wonderful, wonderful meal.
It's really, really nice.
Now it's
And
sweet, and the great thing about that it's being sweet is that you can offer it with a special treat.
Exactly.
So what's the special treat,
Special treat is that you take a bowl of ice cream.
right?
You knew this was coming.
I knew this was coming. Of course I knew this was coming.
And this actually is the parve ice cream,
Right.
non-dairy, which is a little bit of a soy thing. And you just take this.
We got about 30 seconds.
We put the bananas right on top.
So stop stalling, because I want this.
You take your spoon. You already said shakol,
Right.
which is the right bracha. And you serve when the bananas are hot and the ice cream is cold. Put that in your mouth.
This is so good.
I'm glad you like it.
Avi, we're going to have you back.
I hope so. I look forward to it.
Thank you very much for joining us on
Pleasure,
Delightful
my
Chaim.
pleasure, my pleasure.
With us in studio today is Rod Kukaroots. Rod has been with us before, and we're embarking on a new journey with us on Tilapia L'Chaim, in which we're going to feature Jewish and Israeli artists. So it's a regular feature of Tilapia L'Chaim. So Rod, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure, thank you.
And why the focus? Other than obviously that's the theme of our show, but why the focus on Jewish and Israeli artists?
Well, I think that as far as you can remember, Jewish artists have been very prolific in all throughout history. Such an extent that I researched for the show, and one thing that few people know is Leonardo da Vinci's mom was Jewish. Then you have tremendous artists like Chagall or like Camille Pissarro or Modigliani who are of Jewish descent, and that's on the visual arts. Mm-hmm. I won't go into the performing arts or the movie artists because it's so long that we can be proud of. I would like to think that it's because of their Jewish descent, the history with the people of the book. And we have maybe a special sensitivity in us that makes for all these great Jewish artists.
Very good. And part of our struggle as a people that generates some deepness.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one other important aspect of it is that in ancient times, in Europe, for instance, art was religious. So Jewish art was mainly seen in synagogues when the other in churches for the other artists. However, Rembrandt, for instance, was very inspired by his life in Jewish neighborhoods in the Netherlands. Mm-hmm. He even did a very famous painting called The Jewish Bride. So we've been present directly through Jewish art or indirectly through the illustration of the Bible, of course, and of Jewish life. And today we have a very, very vibrant Israeli art scene, as was illustrated during Art Basel, where Israeli artists were present in, I believe, 7 or 8 different locations.
Very good. What makes an artist a great artist, a marketable artist?
Most often luck. Of course talent, but unfortunately, especially nowadays, talent is not sufficient. It's a mix of talent, of being able to market her or himself, or being marketed. Of course, the one of the recent most successful ones is Andy Warhol, who understood the power and at the same time the intelligence of marketing his art and basically making money with his art while he was living. If you compare Andy Warhol, who, if you wanted to have your portrait done by Andy Warhol, like Nixon or like Gérard Depardieu, okay, you would pay him $20,000 or $25,000. He would do it. At the opposite scale of this, you have Vincent van Gogh, who's considered like one of the major masters of all times, who only sold for a few dollars during his lifetime, and today you have pieces of Van Gogh that went for over $100 million.
Amazing, amazing. Well, let's talk about our first artist. Our first featured artist is Laurent Harari. And with us, we have, and our audience will be able to see these pictures, the first photography. So give us a little background about Laurent Harari, and then let's talk about his works.
Well, I like to say that what's interesting with Jewish artists is that some illustrate Jewish life, and we'll talk about one later, and some, like Laurent, are incredible human beings, very talented, most probably one of the most talented photographers of his generation. He's a young artist. Nevertheless, he does some beautiful photography of nature, and he has the utmost respect for nature, and he is a witness of what is happening to Mother Nature these days, these years. And a lot of his photographies, like we see here, actually some of the photos he took would not be possible today anymore, and they're only a few years old, because of the climate change and because the locations where he went, especially in Patagonia, for instance, are no longer the same as they were when he took his photos. Right.
Well, so I know we look at them, this Austral blue that was taken from Patagonia. You know, I'm a neophyte, so in terms of describing art and what context and the beauty of it.
You know, there are two ways to approach art. There's one way which I think is a little sad today, which is looking at it only as an investment. And during Art Basel, you have some of the collectors and visitors at Art Basel that aren't even looking at the art with their heart. They're just looking at it as an investment, from an investment perspective. I like to exchange with people who, like you, are neophytes, and who say, wow, this is unbelievable, this is beautiful. And you shouldn't be ashamed. On the contrary, you should be comfortable. You have to be comfortable going into any art gallery, into any art exhibition, and going around and asking, what is the story behind the piece, behind the photo, behind the painting, behind the sculpture? Because the story and the history of the artist is what ultimately makes the piece of art.
So in the 45 seconds that we have left, what makes Harari different from other photographers on the scene?
Well, he is a generous person who uses his art as a testimony to what is happening all around the world today, and at the same time he gets involved when he goes on locations. I can give you an example in Chile, where he not only took these spectacular photos, but at the same time he started a foundation to help some kids in distress in that area of the world. And to me, that is part of his Jewish heritage.
Very good. Well, we're going to be back with artists for time after time after time on the show. So we look forward to sharing Jewish artists and Israeli artists with our audience. Rod, we'll see you back soon.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you.
That's it for this edition. For more information on our show, please visit us on the web at tolifelachayim.com. I'm Lee Lazerson. Thank you very much for joining us. And to life, l'chaim.